big game for MNM. It is their opening game. They got to watch these teams play yesterday. They have an idea of what they're coming in for, especially on Cafe. So let's see how the bands kick off. First and foremost, it's going to be Flores coming out from Sandbox.
Strong start. Just taking away the man with the Rotero drones, as we know, how powerful he can be, not only for throwing utility, but the soft destruction as well. Bit of a target ban coming in on the Zofia.
Yep, against Shyle, the go-to Zofia player on this team. Fun fact for those of you who don't watch too much APAC North, last year a team did ban Zofia away from Shyle. He picked Blackbeard, he got 9 kills in 3 rounds, and from that point on, team said, yeah, have Zofia back. We don't want to deal with that Blackbeard anymore. And we did see a bit of Blackbeard coming out yesterday from one of the teams. I forget who it was, but infuriating.
Shiro on BDS.
There you go. And Shiro on BDS, and did evade a couple of headshots, so no complaints there. Last 2 bans, the Wamai coming through has returned to being quite a popular band so far here at SI 2022. And Valkyrie also going to follow through. No big surprise. She has been banned in, I would wager, at least 75% of our matchups so far.
And will continue to be so. You know, we know how powerful she is. We don't need to keep labouring on that point, but you will still see those bans reigning in. So we are going to get into it. This is one of the games that I looked towards when we started. You know, all jokes aside, as we've said, MNM are a team that we have seen. They're an organisation particularly that we've seen, you know, from basically formation through to this point. You know, this is the story for Siege. This is getting into your national leagues. When we talk about it on EUL, you know, go and play those qualifiers, get into your national leagues. If you want to be on that 6 invitational stage, MNM are proof of exactly that. But let's not overlook Sandbox either. I want to give them, you know, jokes aside, with all the respect that Sandbox are due, because they are one of the top teams in the APAC region. There is no two ways about it. It's been a little bit of a tumultuous year for them, but it really feels like the ship has steadied. I said yesterday that I was a little bit concerned. I didn't know where their edge was. You know, I didn't know where that sort of sharp point was going to be, but they showed us that they had plenty of heart, plenty of ability to keep themselves in that NIP matchup yesterday. And MNM, they're going to have a trial by fire here. If they want to start their invitational journey off with a win, they are going to have to fight tooth and nail for it against this Sandbox side. And even then, it might not be enough.
Absolutely. It wasn't for NIP yesterday, so let's see how MNM shape up. Arguably, coming into the competition, 2 of the lower expectation teams. Everyone's talking about bigger names, but here comes Tyrant. The entry demon himself, him and Solotov are the 2 players you're looking to be picking up a number of entries. Yuzu's often the one that tops the KD chart, so if you aren't familiar with these players, trust me, by the end of the series, you'll start having a pretty good idea. For the majority of the team, as you can see, they've got a bit of a setup coming out towards the east side. Solotov doing some work out on those Twitch drones. You've got Neo out there with Diffuser in hand, so you can see that Gaines Wall is likely going to be where they try and step things up, but it's Harper to strike first. Down goes Yuzu's early in the round, the extended hold from Static and Harper out towards the west, coming up big.
Big loss for MNM. We know Yuzus has got serious capability when it comes to picking kills up, but so does Solotov. Comes in with a big headshot onto Envy Taylor just to level things up, 4-4. MNM getting moving now, finding that kill onto Harper. Strays into no man's land a little bit at the bottom of White Stairs there, gets picked up from the window, and it's going to be Nello who manages to finish him off with the nade, and that now gives MNM a little bit of an advantage. Solotov working towards, and there's definitely going to be some pressure mounting up the White Stairs, I would expect.
Static's lurking inside a garage here as well. They've got to be super careful about what he might achieve, because if he can hit them on the flank once they're trying to set up for these hatches or moving in towards meeting, it's going to sting. And fair enough, why would you drone inside there? You might assume that you as a player would get caught moving back across this point. He can play massive spoiler if they aren't too careful, but Armory Stairs is where they're starting to work their way up, so it depends on when he wants to start making his move.
And as you say, it could be deadly. That is one that we're going to just keep an eye on with bated breath at the minute. MNM still making good progress. I wouldn't expect to see Static move until maybe the 30-second mark or below. He really doesn't want to give MNM any opportunity for that rotation that will take them away. Now then, what a peek from Shyle! Sits Solotov down inside a trophy there, and here goes Static. We're going to find out exactly how much MNM know. There's one on the flank, but not on the watch. Tyrant shut down by Static. Sandbox go big big in the late round. There's 35 seconds left to go, and the man advantage has been flipped from one side to the other. Sandbox now, 3 versus 2. It's all down to Neo and Nello. They've got to try and play their way into sight somehow, but Nello's not even inside of the map yet. Time is going to be a serious factor here for MNM as they try to push on through this Sandbox defense.
It's all about this trophy door. That's where the two members are trying to come in. Nova's moved down in towards game. May look for a swing here or just holds it tight, but Neo has got to force his way through. Steps in, looking for the gunfights, gets sandwiched in from both sides, and Shyle takes a big 2K. MNM just being shown what these APAC teams are capable of with a brilliant flank coming out of Static to shut down the mid-round attack.
Welcome to Big School. You're on the big stage now, and if you leave players undroned, if you give them opportunities, they will hurt you. But I think what Sandbox have just taught MNM there is it's not just about the mistakes, it's about the things that sometimes you just can't do anything about. That Shyle peak onto Solotov was just, it's unplayable. You can't do anything against skill and ability like that.
Maybe a little bit on the side of MNM there as well. You know that wall's left soft. There's a good chance it's being left soft because someone is going to be sat behind a shield, just wandering around inside a pit. Yesterday we saw a few teams set up where they had a shield inside a pit and it was looking to support a trophy-based player. So exposing yourself by that couple of pixel angle, maybe not quite the strongest play to get yourself control of those armory stairs, but small mistakes and things no doubt that will be learned from the further this game goes on. We now head down into the basement. Mira being brought along by Harper, and we know just how oppressive Mira can be on sites like this. Get yourself a one inside a cubby, for example, and it can be an absolute nightmare. One on Freezer stops you comfortably pushing down there. So MNM are going to have to focus on dealing with those before they start thinking about where the push comes in. Either that or they put all of their focus on a north side take. It's an old sort of strat. I wouldn't say old, it's still used by some regions, but you do see more focus these days on laundry and supply. So, laundry and freezer, sorry. So hopefully we see them adapt to that, deal with that meeting hatch and look to go for a north side push.
Well, this is it. Normally on this, we say there's an opportunity here for attacking from 4 sides at once, or 3 if you don't want to stretch yourself too thin.
The LATAM attack.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so difficult to defend against because it just keeps turning those defenders' attention to different directions. But like you say, those mirror windows potentially are a great stopper when you think about how do we defend against that multi-angle attack, because like you say, it's going to make it really unpopular to go anywhere near laundry and freezer. But as it is, MNM working from the west side clearance, so potentially going to apply some pressure to freezer. But first of all, they need to clear Static, and users will. Great headshot from the man, just finding him behind the kitchen cabinet, sitting him down and getting the advantage this time for MNM.
Oh dear, now they know that Shyle sat inside a meeting as well. Of course, can't drop through the hatch, so it's going to be a north tower retreat for him. Has to be mindful of users pushing into kitchen. I thought he might go back down to site, but clearly they feel they can get more done here. But every time he steps forward, there's a drone there just lurking and waiting, giving information of what Shyle is trying to do. And then, oh my God! Tyrant living up to the name. What a shot through the soft wall. And Shyle punished for his overstay up on the ground floor.
Absolutely disgusting stuff there. You love to see it. Tyrant just doubling down on that MNM advantage. And now Sandbox, there's nothing they can do, Des, other than haul up inside a site. Invitational takes a drone out on its way to Freezer. So that maybe just gives a little indication of where the pressure's going to come from. That hatch is going to be open from security into Freezer just to ensure they can start working down. But there is that mirror window that they need to deal with. You can see the ping bottom left of your screen just showing that that is something that MNM are identifying. This is going to be an obstacle for us. Now Nello working on that meeting hatch as well. 1 minute 15 left to go. Plenty of time for MNM here.
Nello's got to be really careful with this hatch as well. They need to get it open up. Sees the man, gets the shots in onto Harper. A few are exchanged back, but they were just aware of what's going on. Again, I'll give it to MNM. Their drone play has been phenomenal so far. No one coming up on the flank for them just yet. 4 members all congregating inside of meeting. And again, you're looking for that north side take that I was talking about that mainly works around those mirror windows and doesn't want to face off against them.
Just feeling like MNM have just stalled out a little bit here, as you say, working around that meeting hatch, not really gaining any ground from it. They've got Nova holding down the rear stage stairs, and MNM need to make a solid decision here of where this push is going to come from. We've got somebody just rotating to bunker now. That's a big challenge though. Nova just maybe overstepping there in that 3v5 situation. He gives them the opportunity to find the kill, and they do not miss. Now then, Invitational from Pillars trying to challenge that hatch drop. Harper manages to find a nitro, but you just feel like the pressure is mounting here for Sandbox. Out goes another nitro and finds another kill. Somehow it's 2v2 days, but but Harper is shut down by Solotov. 2v1, it's all up to MB Taylor. We know that this man has got the capability. Diffuser going down, he nearly finds one but can't confirm.
He's got to kill
for a second, the time is running down. Users
he's got it!
It has to be the 1v2 clock of MB Taylor. Sandbox will not be beaten.
Incredible round, back to front as well, because MNM, again, I'll give it to them. Their drone work was sublime. If you want to go back and see how to drone out a map of Oregon, that was it. Every time, Shyle, whoever it was, I forget in Kitchen, I think it was Shyle inside a Kitchen. No, it wasn't Shyle. Who was it in Kitchen? Static and then Shyle, the two S players. They were droned out multiple times by MNM and shut down into a beautiful 5 versus 3. They put pressure onto MB Taylor at the top side of Highway to force him back with drones. It was beautiful. Everything was done to the letter, but there's one thing you cannot ignore, and I say this probably every broadcast at least once: Siege is an FPS game. If you do not win your gunfights, you will lose rounds no matter how perfectly you might play it, and MNM have just been shown that. Textbook droning and then shut down by 2 players in a 5 versus 2.
It's a beautiful play by Sandbox. That was, really a masterclass in how do you deal with the 3v5 situation.
Absolutely.
They just dropped it back. Let's not focus anywhere other than sight. Let's just really lock down those angles. Let's identify where those pushes are coming from. And I have to say, I think the mirror windows were pivotal there, because it stopped the push into Freezer. We saw that MNM identified it. It was like you could see the moment that they were opening the hatch into Freezer, and then it was like, there's a mirror window there. No, we're not going to push this. Let's rotate. Let's go rear side. And it just played into the hands of Sandbox. Great defending from the APAC side.
Absolutely beautiful. So now you're starting to see how things are setting up on the attack for MNM. Again, their attacks are looking good. They're looking structured. They're looking well thought out. Stalling a little bit time-wise into those last 60 seconds, and Sandbox are saying, okay, look, we are pushing our luck. We are trying to go for these kills on the roam. And even if they aren't finding the kills, they're still achieving the primary purpose of a roam, which is ultimately to waste time. And it doesn't mean immediate time waste. It can be drawing frag grenades now so they can't use them later. It can be drawing out drones so they have to get a player who's the other side of the map to feed info. But Tyrant with another wonderful kill, this time onto Static. Last time it was through the soft wall inside a meeting. Here it's a well-placed grenade onto the feet of the Aruni.
Absolutely fantastic nade there, just taking out that entry once again. Static losing his life first in the last 2 rounds. Not helping Sandbox in the man count terms, but one way or another, they seem to be able to find their way to get the rounds over the line. You just feel like MNM need a round here, Des. They need something to get them going, because at the minute, they don't want to be getting too far behind on Oregon. It is their map choice. It's somewhere we expect them to play well, and going into Cafe against an unbeaten Sandbox side is not going to be an easy thing to do if you're already 1 map down.
Yes, they've got a little 3-man squad here coming in towards Trophy and Master side, looking to attack here in towards Attic, as well as in towards MB Taylor, who's hovering around inside of Kids. The Twitch drones going in, they're getting pit opened up so they can see Charles, who is now backed away to the window inside Big Tower. So their hit squad is trying to clear out the roamers, but as we said a couple of times, the time isn't working for MNM here. Sandbox are just playing it very well, dancing in shadows just around the edge of the vision of MNM and keeping them guessing. It's Solotov on the push in, looking for the 1-man. They must know roughly where he is here. Can they see a shadow? No, they can't see the head, and he wins the gunfight onto MB Taylor. It's another big numbers advantage for MNM. It's a 5 versus 3 this time rather than a 5 versus 2. It doesn't stop me feeling nervous at this point in the round, though, Tim.
They've gained the vertical, though. That is important. Attacking onto Kitchen and Meeting. It's going to, as you can see, Sandbox now basically giving up Kitchen. They've all stepped aside. Nova's moved himself to play down into security. The rest are just sort of staying around the periphery. They're on the fringe of the centre of the site there because they just don't want to open themselves up to the verticals. They're much safer in Meeting, but they do still need to concern themselves with Attic. Now, Tyrant, he's just been holding the angle on that security door. I think he's just trying to prevent Nova coming out for the time being. The drone goes in, so they know he's there. Users able to use that information to get the vertical kill. 5v2. MNM starting to pile on.
It's the 5 versus 2 again. They need to close this out because Charles has been lurking up towards the north side for the longest time. He's finally back on Kitchen, and down goes Harper. Tries to juice himself back up. It's not going to happen. Charles has got to do it all. He's coming on the flank, and Solotov might be the one that he starts to run into any second now. It's Tyrant at the bottom. Will find one. Looks for the second, but Nello gets the shutout. Much better for MNM this time, converting their gunfights into a round win.
It's exactly what they needed on that third choice site. They couldn't have Sandbox coming in there and getting themselves themselves a complete defensive rotation. This is MNM's map choice. They need to come in here with a strong opener and send a little bit of a message to the APAC side, but they are certainly up against it today because Sandbox not only are hitting shots, but they just seem to be playing everything right at this point in time. But MNM, a lot of positive to take from that last round. Nice entries, good control, got that top floor vertical and just really used it.
That has run through both round 2 and 3. Round 1 I think was still getting your feel into the game in a sense, but round 2 and round 3 especially, again, excellent droning, excellent clear of the map, good map control in general, great use of the verticals. They're doing it all by the book, which is great. If Sandbox pulled them into a game of rank 2.0, you know, taking multiple gunfights, hitting them on the flank, for example, then a lot of that can go out the window. But so far, holding very good structure. Now in round 3, we go back up into Kids and Dorms again, so we'll see how the setup goes in for Sandbox this time around. I'm looking towards those entries time and time again because Tyrant and Users are pushing really aggressively in the early round. And where normally you might see a Twitch, Solotov in this case being a bit more intel focused, helping the team out. Whenever they do get into a group, it's Solotov that is the first one on the drones, and I think maybe that's trying to deal with gadgetry, you know? Get rid of the ADSs if you see them, any mute jammers in the way. Otherwise, you're potentially impeding a whole push forwards on the basis of a mute jammer is blocking a single doorway. So it's good to see how that structure's coming together.
Invitational just going to drop himself away from tier 3, a big tower there. He has a little peek out of the window, but as soon as MNM know that he's up there, his game is done and he needs to move away and relocate, otherwise he's going to get himself cut off very, very quickly. Now, similar again to what we saw last time, MNM coming in from this west side, looking for a bit of potential pressure from the bottom of White Stairs. Just let Sandbox know that there is a presence over that side of the map. They do have roamers to deal with. They've got Harper working underneath, Nitro in hand, so he may well try to play his entire round out here if he can, looking forward to the potential of vertical denial should anybody come in through that double window. But Users, he's stacking up. We've got Static over in the garage once again. Now then, the question is, MNM lost a life to him last time, but probably didn't know where he came from. Look at this, is disgusting from Static. It's disgusting. He's just punching holes in the garage wall. Nobody from MNM seems to be aware. He can see the foot underneath the van, but doesn't quite pick up on it, and just moves away. And MNM get away with one there.
They do, yeah, fortunate. I was going to say for Static, normally he's sat inside kitchen and helping Harper contest. Here he's pulled all the way back to garage early on, so forget about trying to contest Tyrant, for example. He doesn't want to be the first death anymore, so small adaptations in the roam coming out of Sandbox. This one a little bit more passive and focused on that downstairs denial, a little bit cheeky on that potential peek out, probably acknowledging that it's a trait of MNM or a go-to consistent one where you'll see someone sat on drone for a good 60 seconds. Nello is still sat on it at this point as well. I don't think he's moved, but of course they're not going to find him in this case. One thing I want to stress is we're down to 75 seconds left, so time is not in MNM's favour right now, given they haven't really cleared these roamers out. They're still downstairs, they're still roaming around, and here comes the push. Tyrant finding Harper, Static getting an immediate trade back before Users is there to cover his man. Again, brilliant team play from MNM.
Yes, better dealing with Static this time. He still managed to get his man. It was Tyrant who suffered again, but at least they've learned from that last time. They had somebody in position to then make an impact on that and find that trade. Working towards double window potentially here. Users is down inside a dining. We've got 3 stacked up at least for MNM on that White Stairs side. So the focus is there though. Sandbox are aware of that. Toxic Babe canister goes out just to slow down any potential push. 30 seconds left to go and 2 Toxic Babe canisters left in hand. This might not be easy for MNM to get themselves inside of the map here for a plant, because it can just be burnt awake, and this time second by second as the Toxic Gas just holds them at bay. Solotov, however, he finds Shayol, and then we have Envy Taylor. How many times are we going to see this? Envy comes in and starts fighting back, but Neo has managed to get himself in to get that plant down. Users finds the kills. It's not necessary. And MNM, they manage to get themselves another, and they level things up. 2-2. Des, we've got a game on our hands.
Don't we always, Tim? Don't we always? And I want to stress again how the numbers are broken down in these rounds. For the last 3 rounds, MNM have either been in a 5 versus 2 or a 4 versus 2. And I'm very conscious again, for Tim and I, we've cast MNM a lot. You might be going, biased towards MNM saying they're doing things so well. It's because they are. They're currently 2-2 on the attacking side of Oregon and are genuinely winning these rounds all the way through. It's just a couple of them have gone awry towards the backside of it. But to have those numbers advantages in rounds, to be that coordinated for users, for example, then up white stairs, smash a hole through into game room. Nova didn't have him covered on the cross to stop him getting in through that angle. Gets in, kills Envy who's coming out of concrete, and then swings around and covers his planter. Really smart play towards the back end of the round. You can see why he's always up there as one of the big fraggers for the team. Currently sat at 5-2. On the other side of things, for Sandbox, they want to dial things back here and play it a little bit more securely, I think. They've been punished a couple of times getting aggressive on the roam. Static, their go-to entry, is now back playing on the Clash, something we saw out of them a few times in APAC North.
We're going to have that set up down on the basement site then. We saw this back in round 2. It was a Sandbox win. It was a 3v5, and MNM are going to be looking to try and replicate that a little bit, I think. They're going to be looking to keep themselves on top of things in the early round, get that man count up, and just try to make life difficult for Sandbox. But I'm sure they're going to be very aware, after what they experienced last time, that that's not going to be an easy feat, even in the late round. Invitational just get in the last-minute hatches. That's going to be security taken care of. Just might help them try to hold on to Freezer, and it's no surprise to see Harper on that mirror again. It was pivotal last time, and it really shaped the push that MNM went for, and it'll be interesting to see with the Hibana on the side of Neo whether they just try to challenge it a little bit more directly this time so they can go for that Freezer push.
Yeah, I think you saw the yellow pin come out into the meeting hatch back in the previous round as well, where they were like, right, stop, forget about Freezer. Let's just turn our attention up towards meeting instead. So maybe this time there will be that kind of two-sided push. They did last time, mind you, have big tower push. They had construction push out towards the east in blue. They had the drop coming in at the same time. It wasn't like they were only going for one angle. They were dropping 2 or 3 at once and really trying to make a push happen. Just Sandbox for them, it was a little too readable when they knew there was no pressure coming in from the Freezer side because that hatch had stayed closed.
Tyrant just holding a real skinny angle here in through that Freezer, looking on towards the highway rotate, and if anybody from Sandbox strays across there, you just know he's going to take his chance. But for the time being, the man is sticking himself in behind that mirror, and Sandbox well aware that the push is potentially looking at Freezer, and it just feels once again, Des, like MNM are just stalling out a little bit because of those mirror windows.
I would love to see them though with a bit more pacey, you know, start thinking about the drop at about that 45-second mark, bearing in mind there are no roamers. The most you've got to deal with is Static pushing his way up the big tower stairs, but that's about it. Otherwise, you have got full reign of this. Stick a drone on each staircase, watch for any flanks that come up, and put all of your focus into the downstairs execute. That's got to be the play for them here. Let's see them make use of the clock well.
Solotov just trying to push the Clash, nearly gets the angle onto the shoulder, around the back of the shield there, but he's just going to keep taking those little static shots from the front of it and can't clear it out at the minute. They just need a little bit of utility to assist. They've got a couple of nades on Tyrant, couple of nades on users, so this can certainly be dealt with so long as they do it on the stairs and stay away from that ADS that's down at pillars. You can see the grenade is being cooked, it will detonate and Static will take some damage, but as of yet not cleared out, still manages to back away, still keeps that big glass wall active.
I'm so impressed by the combo because they had a flash leading ahead of that from Neo to burn the ADS downstairs, so all those frags did go off, but 3 nades later, Static still stands on about 25 HP, and this is where the Clash comes into her own. There's 30 seconds on the clock, there's 3 smoke canisters, they've got MNM on the ropes here, and they've got to make a big play right now.
Just moving in, Tyrant, he's going to push forward, come face to face with that Clash once again. Maverick just trying to open holes, and that's a great opener from Tyrant, finding Shayo, but look at the clock, Des, 15 seconds left to go. Invitational once again stepping up with what could be a pivotal kill, finds users just to slow down MNM further. Double nitro from Harper, over the top and hits his shot, finds a third, and Sandbox closed down the MNM attack that was just left a little bit too late.
There's a real beauty in being able to see where a team's strengths and weaknesses are forming, right? And for MNM, we spoke about the strengths a lot already. That weakness is now proving itself to be the clock, because I said in that last round, they've got no roamers to deal with. There's no Static trying to hit them on the flank. There's no Harper lurking below or above and joining Static out on the roam. They were all on site, and MNM still ground things down to the last 10 seconds or so. I think because the Clash was giving them a headache. They were like, well, if we drop now and there's a Clash stood right there, it's going to completely spoil our setup, right? They've got all this information being fed. They can peek behind the back of the shield. It's going to do us no favors. So they got sort of sidetracked and did have a really good method to clear it with the 3 frag grenades coming in, but simply couldn't deal with it. And again, they're forgetting Nova still had all 3 canisters in back pocket.
It was down to Static's fancy footwork for me. Static managed to give him the razzle-dazzle down by the pillars, and he just kept dancing around, kept himself away from those nades. He seemed to understand understand exactly what was coming next. As you say, the flash cleared the ADS fantastically well, but Static had already backed himself up and just kept himself out of the radius that was going to be lethal to him. And like you say, once that clash isn't clear, you're going to be in for a bit of a headache. And it's interesting, Des, obviously the MNM choice to ban out Sophia, one of the biggest direct counters to that clash, just able to move that shield very easily from in front of him, and bringing along the clash might just be Sandbox leaning into that.
You have 6 frag grenades though, right? And you'd say, well, that should be plenty.
You should be able to deal with it. You should be able to.
It should be. And again, they made a really good effort where the flash led in, burnt out the ADS, then 3 frag grenades came in, but Static, as you say, fancy footwork. The man's been taking dance lessons, dodges his way around the bunch, in and out, and keeps himself alive right up until the bitter end of that round. This will be the last defensive round in this half, and Sandbox are chancing it on the upstairs site. You've got Harper playing upstairs once again. Static, rather than being in garage or hanging around Zulu or inside a kitchen, is now down in the basement, doing what you normally see out of players like Yas on Down 1 Kier, for example. So we'll keep a close eye on him and see what impact he has later into the round.
Users just moving across from that west side. It's very similar again from MNM. Move across, sweep through the map, clear out any roamers. But again, Des, the question is asked, are they aware of Static in the garage? You've got to say,
I'll hear that punch, sure.
They must hear it. There you go. The window gets opened up. The challenge comes in from Solotov. Can't quite see his man, and somehow Static just manages to escape with his life through the rotation.
The rotation saves his life there, otherwise he runs and it exposes himself to the lobby door, and there was Nello waiting to close it out. But Static is now near that front door, at least, sorry, he's double back downstairs. He's in the basement again, disappeared into the void. So MNM need to once again keep tabs on him. But Tim, we're nearly 90 seconds into the round, and they're dealt primarily with just one member of the side of Sandbox.
Tyrant users are just locked in position at the minute. You've got a drone from Tyrant just buzzing around, trying to find what's going on. He's surely going to spot out. He can't get past the mute jammer. That's going to keep Harper at least probably disguised inside of security. They can make a good guess that that's where one is playing, but it's all wasting time. And I love the setup from Sandbox and Static, Des. They try to push him in the basement, and he takes Solotov to task, removing his head there up through his own rotation. What a great play from Static. Harper's going to drop out of security to join him. They're both going to try and wriggle their way back to rear stage. Envy Taylor comes from nowhere and finds a kill onto users, and Sandbox are in command.
Absolute control here. 2 members roaming basement, Envy on the ground floor, not forgetting this is a second floor site. Tyrant has pushed his way in, acknowledging that they are a little bit light on site right now. Nello finding one, they will not know that Tyrant has got his way inside. Did you know about the man tucked to the right? Yes, he does, but loses the shot. Shah with a wonderful shot coming in, an instant headshot. Down he goes. Neo finds one more back, but they've got 30 seconds. It's a 3 versus 2, and this time round, the smoke is dead.
I love this game. It is just great shot after great shot. They are just challenging each other at every corner, raining blows. Harper hits the deck, switches to the shotgun. He knows that the challenge is coming. Can he find his man? No. Nello with a pistol gets the kill, but with 13 seconds left to go, he's going to have a real job ahead of him. Envy Taylor steps out, hits him with the one tap, and that is going to be Sandbox closing out their defensive round 4-2.
That half's ended as it started. Brilliant roam work coming out of Sandbox as well, keeping MNM asking questions of, well, guys, we can't get to this next step in our plan until we've dealt with this one. You're spending 90 seconds trying to deal with Static, who was down in the basement. Like, it's going to be frustrating.
I love what I'm really enjoying watching Sandbox today. I've got to say, they are really bringing the heat.
They are. This aggressive roam game, many look at and just go, oh, you're playing like you would in rank, like you're getting out on the map, you're not really playing strats. It doesn't matter. I was talking to Fresh about this over breakfast this morning, that the current meta of the game is really leaning in towards this aggressiveness, this swinging style, which is why APAC, LATAM, for example, are doing so well at the minute. Let's see, though, how Sandbox can do on the attacking side. They've dropped away from the Ying and brought something arguably even more obnoxious. They've got the Blitz on side, Tim.
The Blitz is coming along. It always begs the question, are we going to see a rush into side? It's a famous one that you and I cast. Kavana Gaming rushed in through elbow behind a Blitz and just went absolutely crazy in the first 15 seconds of the round. Are we going to see a repeat of it?
All aboard the Sandbox hype train.
Could be.
If it comes in, this is the round to do it. You generally can't get away with it twice in a row. Teams will be slightly more prepared, but even getting away with it just once puts them up to 5-2. A couple more rounds and they're done with the map. At least one more round and they guarantee overtime, which would be a great start for Sandbox. Not so good for MNM, of course. Not forgetting this was MNM's map pick, I believe, as well. Next we go into Cafe, which, here we go. Is it going to start?
They've all spawned into construction. They've got Invitational heading down that way. Novi's just ahead of him, and well, I don't know, Shiol's gone off elsewhere, but the fourth is going to be joining him. There's definitely potential here for Invitational just trying to push in and get aggro.
Don't forget TSM did this one last time as well, where they have Bolo coming down big tower whilst the other four all pushed in on the rush. So you do want at least one player coming in from a different angle, and that looks to be what the setup is going to be. They've kept this Blitz quiet. They have no idea that it's coming. It's just going to come to light at one point. They won't bother chucking nades down there, I imagine. It's just going to be a straight up charge, stop Solotov getting back in sight and reinforcing the wall. If they catch a whiff of the Blitz, it's going to be reinforced panic time.
Oh, I'm so excited for this, Des. We know it's coming. Everybody at home knows it's coming. We've just got to wait for that moment that Sandbox pull the trigger. As you say, Invitational, he has crouch walked all the way down there to not give away that telltale shield sign. He's just edging his way forward. Here they go. That's the trigger. In he goes. That's elbow cleared. He continues trying to fight. Nitro comes out, avoids it. 5v4, and there's nothing that MNM can do to reinforce that wall now. The ground has been taken, but Nello, he manages to take Static down just to level things up. 4-4 now. Tyrant taking damage, but a big play from Neo. Hits him with a double on the flank. Moves into bunker, shut down by Shiol, but still MNM able to lean into this rush. Tyrant finds Shiol, and that leaves us now 3v1. Nello finds the final kill. It was fun while it lasted, Des.
Wasn't quite the Nino we were hoping for, was it, Tim? They did
fun while it lasted.
They did pause on 90. I think they saw the mirror window, they saw the C4 coming, and that just killed all of the potential in that attack. Well played by MNM, and definitely a different mirror window coming out too. Like, when's the last time you've seen that single reinforcement and a mirror window placed there? I can't think of one.
I feel like it did slow the push down a little bit as well. There was a Nitro that came out, forced Invitational back, and it just gave them that sort of full stop, or at least a comma to the sentence to create that pause that they needed. And it was well played from MNM. They didn't panic, they lost the life. Farper was able to get the entry kill, but Neo, really big play at the end there, coming round pillars, just brave move, get in there, find two, and it really, that was the moment for me. Sandbox were broken.
Did you see where he came from? I wasn't sure if he was hiding in Harry Potter or if he'd come up Highway. I have a feeling they would have been watching Highway.
Originally, it was at the beginning of the round, he was Harry Potter. He was just under the stairs.
Yeah, okay then. For those who are curious what we mean by Harry Potter, generally if there's a call out where you rely on hiding under the stairs or at the bottom of the stairways, it's called Harry Potter. Thank you, Easy, indeed. Poor guy, he's had us 2 days in a row. He's dealt with all the hijinks, all the hilarity that comes with it at points.
He loves us, really.
He does, he does.
Heading into round number 8, then we're going to be heading up to the top floor. MNM getting their first defensive round on the board to bring us back to 3-4 on the scoreboard. Honestly, I had a feeling coming in today that this was going to be our first like really big, tight game that goes the distance, that we start seeing some overtimes in, that we start seeing teams really wailing on each other. I just have a feeling these two teams are going to be very evenly matched throughout this one.
I sure hope so, and again, I really hope we get to that third map. I know Chalet is a big MNM map for Sandbox, it's a no-go map, but that just gives you all the reason why it feels more exciting to get onto it, because
Sandbox could be awesome there.
They could. That's what we don't know. We don't know, Tim.
We don't know.
Okie dokie, let's see if Sandbox can get a bit more of a structured attack together this time round. There is no rush coming in, it's not all sat behind a Blitz, so it should be a little more standard in what we see. For MNM, the setup looks pretty typical, to be honest, as well. Everyone gathered up around the top 4. You've got Neo holding inside a trophy, Tyrant supporting him from behind, just like we saw coming out of Sandbox earlier on. That said, Tyrant has just dropped down into meeting and might be looking to try and provide some support. There's a red ping coming out, they know there's a man inside the bathroom and they're really trying to pinch him out. It's Yuzus who's in a spot of hot bother on the Legion here. Has one more goo mine in pocket as well if he wants to drop it out for a little bit of information, but has now tucked himself away and he should be safe. Sorry, it's Solotov down there. It was Yuzus who was playing on the above, but Solotov swings, gets the kill onto Static inside a kitchen, and now Invitational's coming in for seconds. Can Solotov find another? Yes, he can. A big 2K inside a kitchen, and Sandbox not able to clear him out just yet.
What a start from MNM there. Shiol finds Tyrant though. Sandbox certainly not done inside of round 8. 3 versus 4 as it stands. Shiol just getting caught up in a goo mine there. That's going to give MNM a little bit of information as to where this push is coming from. Solotov almost loses his life. Des, he runs in front of a car and manages to escape.
The man's a miracle worker. Straight back up towards Big Tower Stairs. He's now again entered the void of basement. We spoke about Static down there in prior rounds. Heaven knows where he will pop up. It could be coming out of Freezer. It could be up Big Tower. It could be coming out of Laundry. There's just so many options he's got to play with. And sure enough, Nova is on the hunt. They want to know where he's coming from. This drone likely going to get left to watch these stairs so a dead teammate can keep an eye on it. In fact, no. All the way up Zulu. They need to find him, in their mind at least, to make sure he can't hit them on the flank.
That's the thing. It's in their mind. Oh, Nova.
Don't think he saw him.
Little bit of lazy drone in there. Doesn't go all the way into Laundry. And if he hasn't spotted Solotov, like you say, that is now just a thorn in the side of the brain of Sandbox. As this round goes on, they know that the Melusi is unaccounted for. Where is he going to pop up? What damage is he going to do?
Sandbox are getting sucked into the same game that MNM did, mind you, of chase the roamer. It's so hard because there's such a vast area for you to go chasing. You've got to start thinking about what your execute looks like, and they've only got 20 seconds still to play with here. There is no smoke on side, but there are a couple of C4s, so let's keep a close eye out.
Solotov, this is your time to strike. He needs to get himself back into the mix here, otherwise the time will tick and he won't be effective. Neo finds the kill onto Nova. They can't get into sight. There's MNM have got this one absolutely locked down. A double from users. It levels us up. We are 4-4 in the game, and what an Oregon we are seeing. This is one of the best maps that we've had over the last couple of days.
Oh, I love it so far. We had a brilliant series from Sandbox against NIP yesterday. If you missed that one, you should go back and watch it. FaZe versus SSG was another screamer. And this one, again, I'll reiterate for many, they look at this and go, who are MNM? We've never heard of them before. If you watch the EU scene, you watch Challenger League, you will have heard of them. Most of you around the world, probably not going to recognize them. Maybe not a far off story for Sandbox. You would have known them as Cloud9 or Mantis FPS formerly. You'd still look at these teams and say, okay, then it's lower tier teams fighting it out. It doesn't matter. It's proving to be a really, really interesting game. Very impressed by MNM's structure so far. On the attacking that side, that is. On the defensive side, things are going perfectly for them so far as well. First one a little bit shaken by the Blitz, but dealt with it well in the prior round. That roam game, they showed they can tango the exact same way Sandbox did, and it worked to great effect. 4-4, and they are on the defensive side.
Going well so far for MNM. Sandbox, you feel they are on the cusp of something though. They just need to get that first attacking round, and it's going to make them serious challengers, serious contenders. I mean, you got to remember, this is MNM's map pick. Sandbox coming in, already taken 4 rounds, and I dare say there's a sting in the tail yet from the APAC side. We know they are not done until the server is closed. So, heading into round number 9, they're going to be attacking onto the third choice site for MNM. It's going to be Meeting and Kitchen, which we've seen a serious lean towards so far in their side. Previously, historically, we've seen a lot of Dining Kitchen as the third choice, but more recently, we've had this shift over towards Meeting again, which is where it originally started out on the reworked Oregon. Meeting was pretty much the third choice.
There was that kind of battle for the longest time of will teams play Dining, will they play Meeting, and like you say, Dining was where we often defaulted to. Meeting wasn't like completely out of the picture. You can compare it to what you see of Reading and Fireplace and Mining and Fireplace, or Mining and Reading, sorry, coming across on Cafe. Almost forgot the name there for a second. Tyrant with yet another entry. He keeps on finding them. It's unbelievable. Again, the name Tyrant really gives you an idea of what this man can achieve. That's probably his 4th or 5th so far in the game, whether it be by nade, whether it be by gunfight, it doesn't matter. He's finding them the whole way through.
Really is the Arnacle. I'm just going to take out the laser gate at the top of the white stairs there, freeing up the path for Static should he want to go and try and start this top floor clearance. We've got battle lines drawn at the minute with Invitational, Nova and Static all just lined up on that west side, looking to try and push across from Dining, get angles into Kitchen and just try and get anything working at this point in time. But 4v5, MNM are not keen to overexpose. They're not looking to peek here. Static going to take some damage out of Kitchen as well. It's Invitational with a nade onto Nello though that could really free things up. Static, he's gone bolting right into the centre of sight. Invitational with a second, and Sandbox are waking up on the attack. Dash uses, tries an ambitious drop but gets shut down, and Static, Nova go wild. The diffuser's going down. Neo is last man alive. He finds one. He's got 3 more to go.
Got to try and find it all for himself on the backside of Meeting here, and with the diffuser down, Sandbox scattered to the winds. One in green corridor. Envy working his way on the upstairs by the looks of it here. In fact, holding on to Zulu as in comes Neo looking for the shots. Can't quite find Envy. Takes a bit of chip damage and backs himself away once again. This clock is going to run down in no time at all, so unless unless he can get a jiggle on right now, he's going to find himself in a lot of trouble. Some more shots come in, more of that HP disappearing away. This should be round Sandbox, and they hit MNM with pace in that round.
That's what we've just seen one of Sandbox's big strengths there, and that is recognising an opportunity and taking it without hesitation. Mid-round, they see that there's nobody inside a kitchen. We think we can get in here. We've cleared out security. Let's go. And they were just in there in numbers. Invitational, Static, users tried to drop. It was all he could do, but shut down. And Sandbox were just absolutely ready for anything MNM could throw at them then.
All the hard work that round really was done by Envy with those nades.
It was great.
You got
absolutely brilliant play from him.
2 nade kills inside of Dining. Like, normally you would have to go and take top floor control for yourself. We saw MNM do the same on their attacks. Users with the vertical play got some kills from that angle. But rather than pushing up into the top floor, they relied on drone work and nades, really well placed nades at that, to get the kills they needed. Both members removed from the top floor, barely even a factor in that round, and they push in and get the kill knowing there is no vertical cover through the hatch. Very smart from Sandbox, and albeit riding potentially a lot on those 2 nades connecting, they did have more in backup with Harper and Static, also with nades in the back pocket should they be required. Let's see then how this next round plays out. Down into the base that we go. After 3 rounds on the defense, MNM have won 2 and lost 1. Exactly the same as Sandbox. They finished at 4 and 2. If things carry on the way they have so far, overtime is going to be inbound.
5 seconds left.
Looking towards that mirror play, interesting. So we don't have the Blitz brought along this time. Obviously, Sandbox not going to be trying the same sort of audacious rush that they did last time. And MNM, they've read that and they've lent into it, Des, because we've got mirrors now placed the same as Sandbox did, whereas previously, it's interesting, they obviously had an idea that rush was going to come because they played it on the wall to elbow. This time, it's not present there. It's been played looking towards Laundry, so they know they're looking at a more default attack here. So I like MNM's setup for this. I like the adaptation, and I like how well they're reading into Sandbox's game.
Now the question is, does Sandbox read into MNM's game? Given how we saw MNM attack it, it was the full north side attack. They didn't bother with going the south side. Sandbox could take the hard route here. They've got the smokes available on the Twitch, so they can smoke out those mirror windows. They can chuck a couple in towards Highway, one off towards the rotate on the right-hand side that leads into Supply. They have got options to play with. MNM did too, but I'm just saying this is what Sandbox have got to work with here. For now, at least, it's going to be Charles pushing up towards this north side. They want to make sure that there's no one lurking for them and waiting in tier 3 of Big Tower, because we've seen teams stung by that a good few times. The main focus is going to be on where you see the Heart Breaches go. Where does Nova go? Where does Harper go? I think we had the Kaid as well coming in for Sandbox on their defense, so a little bit of difference there too, in that you're not relying just on the Maverick, you can afford to get every hatch open.
Absolutely. Sandbox now confident that they're in control of the top 2 floors. That gives them essentially stage 1 done. Roam clearance and map control is yours, so it's now time to start thinking about clearing out this utility. Hatches start getting open to allow a little bit more access. We'll see then exactly where this push is likely to start building. Shiles just running them merry rings at the minute with the Twitch stroke, manages to get the Laundry facing mirror window. That could be big, and the Arna clone is now pushing down towards Freezer, so it looks like Sandbox are mounting to play some pressure onto that side of the map. It'll be interesting to see whether they can have more success than MNM did, particularly in gaining access to Freezer and clearing out the mirror window that looks onto it.
I think Charles still lurking up towards top side of the map as well. In fact, it's going all the way around to construction, so it's a bit of a change coming, because Envy's moved into meeting as well. They've changed, at least it looked like for a second, what they were trying to focus on, but they've still got 3 members on the south, so this is going to be that LATAM push we spoke about a few times. They're going to have Freezer, they're going to have Laundry, they're going to have potentially an E-Box drop, and potentially looking towards North Tower as well. I like. Charles now comes south side too. So a bit of a switcheroo there, maybe because they felt he's done his job on the north side. It's Envy that you now want up there with those nades in back pocket.
It's an attack that I absolutely love because it stretches the defence to the max, and we're going to see a bloodbath here. A Static looks to go in, but he gets flashed out. That's going to burn some time as he can't push forward. Solitov finds the opener onto Harper while Shiol finds users, and this is just going crazy, Des. Nello tries to push through the smoke, but he's going to lose his life. Tyrant is on the reload and on the run. He gets shut down. It's 2v2, these bodies dropping left, right, centre, everywhere you look. Neo moves in and manages to get Invitational, and that could be the round deciding kill. Static moves in, shut down by Solitov, and somehow in what was an absolute maelstrom of kills, MNM managed to hold on.
It was back and forth all the way through. There is one thing I'll clock and note there. When those 2 smokes came out, Solitov held on to all 3 smoke canisters, and I was thinking surely now's the time to get those toxic babes out, shut down the push before for it and get underway, but maybe Nello called for it and said, no, don't, I'm pushing through the smoke, I'm going for the kill. If he'd have got Shyle when he came out the other side of that smoke, that would have shut down a lot of that attack, but unfortunately for him, Shyle did win out and they kept on pushing their way forwards. But Sandbox stung by the same thing that MNM were, the clock works against them. That is one of those final 3 rounds here that MNM have got on the board. They're going to go to Kids and Dorms here, and for me, it's going to be round 12 that is the difference maker when we go back into Kitchen and Meeting. So I think MNM can win this one. If they don't, I'd be very worried if we go into the off-site or if we don't see a repeat of this site.
That's it. We're likely to see either MNM win and we go to Meeting, or we're going to see Dorms twice, I would imagine. I can't see MNM trying to hold on to Meeting in such a crucial round. Who knows?
I don't know what kind of team they are, but we spoke about this a few times. Some teams, regardless of win or lose, will cycle through the same 3 sites. And even when it's a potentially weaker site, they'll still do it because they get into the mindset of, right, here's the rotation we're going to play, here's the strat we're going to employ, let's go, go, go. Others will repeat the same site. We saw BDS yesterday trying the same site 5 times and went 1 and 4 on it. Wasn't the prettiest, was it?
Wasn't ideal. Now then, we can just see Neo crouching underneath the shotgun of Nello there as Attic gets opened up. There's a deployable shield facing in towards Master Bedroom. It's always one that I like. It just gives a little bit of aggression on towards that south side. Doesn't allow then attackers to just move in too quickly and try to get themselves established inside a closet. Interestingly, there's a rotation in closet, so MNM going to have the opportunity to peek out of there potentially, but also peek through it. They're unlikely to get boots on the ground and try and actually push through it, but if you look at the top of White Stairs, there's a rotation in the wall there. There's a thank you very much easy. 2 rotations gives you a nice long line of sight all the way to that doorway.
It can do indeed. Some cross mats down as well. Let's not forget, Tim is our resident magnet towards these cross mats. There is one behind the bunk beds, there's one at the top of White Stairs tucked into the left, and one inside the window in Attic. So they likely won't have a massive impact too early in the round, but you watch in the final 45 seconds, I wouldn't be surprised if someone steps into one. Solotov, the hero of Kitchen, again cooking up a storm, trying to find another couple of kills as he has done previously, but so far unable to find anyone. Only thing he's really found is some lost hit points from himself.
He's going to drop away, and we saw Solotov last time causing a nuisance of himself down in the basement, just able to disappear at will it seemed. And Static, he's just trying to hold on to angles there and cut down the basement, but he's not going to prevent the movement of Tyrant, who's now on rear stage stairs and able to move up and look for a potential challenge into Meeting. And I love this from Tyrant and Solotov, the way that they're just rotating around each other, being flexible on the roam and just causing an absolute headache for Sandbox here. As I say that, Solotov gets the opener onto Harper. Exactly what MNM needed.
That was a run out front door as well. That's like a Sandbox special. Everyone remembers the replay from Sweden of Cyclops charging out front door and killing 2 or 3 people on jump outs. It was unbelievable against Team 1, I think, as well, of all teams to do it against. But it's MNM striking big on to Sandbox. That's your Maverick gone. You lose those 2 nades. They stay in back pocket. They won't be coming out anytime soon. Sandbox have got to get a jiggle on though. Again, 65 seconds to play with here. They've got the drones, they've got the intel, they've got everything, they've got the utility, but they're still losing members. Tyrant finds Static. Not been a great day for him so far, given he was dropping 16 plus kills on a map yesterday against NIP, but so far being silenced by the UK team.
I just feel Sandbox have been a bit too passive on the road clearance there. They've allowed 2 of the MNM players to just rotate around freely. Tyrant, Solotov just able to move and shoot, and never really be closed down. They just tried to hold flanks, they tried to prevent them moving, but it just hasn't been successful, and they're about to lose another life here if they're not careful. MB Taylor throws the nade. What a reaction from him. He is the man underneath him, and he's able to get onto ADS and find the kill, all in the space of half a second or so. Users now looking towards that top of White Stairs. Sees the man push up, going to look for the challenge. Somehow Sandbox are finding kills there. They're getting the diffuser down. They've got the cover. This looks like it could be a Sandbox round until MB Taylor gets down. Nova found out, and that is going to be cleaned up by Neo and Tyrant.
Beautiful stuff. So we get that round we were talking about. We had to see MNM win this one. It's round 12 that is going to be the decider. Normally there's a line that you say at this point in a game, Tim. Do you want to share?
We're going all the way, Des.
To 12 in regulation.
I've got to mix it up sometimes.
Yeah, because all the way normally means 15, right?
Oh, that's when I say 15.
Okay, we're going all the way to 15. No, we're going all the way to 12. We'll have to use, do you say something like, we'll have to use every round of regulation? Is that the line? It's something there in his textbook. You can't remember it right now. We'll come back to it later. Again, though, round 12, this is the offsite, Meeting and Kitchen. This is where MNM have lost previously. If you remember, Sandbox came charging in through showers, in through dining. We had MB Taylor getting 2 massive kills with frag grenades from below. That's going to be the difference maker for me. If MNM can keep those vertical players alive or force Sandbox into the same difficulties that MNM had in the first half of losing time trying to clear roamers, that is going to be their ticket to success. So let's keep a close eye on that.
MNM setting up largely the same, I would imagine. We've got Neo just on the rear side there, going to take out the reinforcements on the rear stage wall. We've got rotation being opened up kitchen to meeting. I would expect to see utility up on the top floor as well. Like you say, really for MNM, the difference for me is here. They need to keep an eye on Sandbox and that potential rush. If they give them the opportunity, if they give them that bit of space, especially if Sandbox create that little bit of space. As you say, we saw Invitational kill Nello with the nade, and that was like the signal. That was like, right, site's empty, let's go. So if that happens again and Sandbox get that opener, MNM need to react quicker. They need to be dropping into site ready to challenge those doorways before Sandbox are established.
Absolutely. Got to say, by the way, looking across the kill spread on both teams, you know, outside of one or two outliers, looking towards Nova. Okay. I mean, it was a try, it didn't clean anywhere, it did get a bit of chip damage down to Harper, but I was going to say outside of like Nova, Static, maybe looking towards Nello and Yuzus, everyone is really getting involved in the game, and even those members I just mentioned aren't exactly quiet, again outside of maybe Nova, it is a team game here. It's not down to one or two players really flying off the handle, everyone's pulling their weight.
Tyrant playing up on T3 at the minute. Not sure if he's been sort of located up there or not. There are windows punched out, so I would expect Sandbox to be aware of his presence. If they're going to look to push in from the south and west side, they might not be too worried about him over there. But Shiol is currently located on that side of the map with the Twitch, so they may well try to deal with him, but they could just leave him out in the cold. It looks like Shiol's actually going to rotate away. Yes, he's going round more towards your sort of dining side of things. He's going to look to move in and pressure green corridor instead, but that could be an issue. If he wants to get in on play on that side of the map, that's when Tyrant is potentially going to become a problem. If they're going to ignore him, they need to really ignore him and just play from the south and west side.
Well, he's just got rid of the shock drone from Shah that was tossed down. I don't know if that's both of them gone, but he doesn't have any left in back pocket. Imagine the other ones either out around the map or indeed both are dead, which could prove a problem given Neo is playing on the Kaid here. Let's keep a close eye on where it goes. Again, looking towards the stage wall. That is electrified off. They need that gone if they're going to get this opened up, assuming, of course, they want this side of control. Shiol rotates himself around. Do they know? Yes, he does, and Tyrant wins it out. It's another entry for him, and Shiol has found himself as the loser in the vast majority of those. Envy also now going down. There's no nades cooking for the top floor this time, but there is a victory cooking up in the kitchen for MNM. He's going to get himself back on his feet, but it's a 5 versus 4.
So we're looking that way at the minute. Static just trying to pressure and pressure and pressure. Nello inside of security. He's done damage time and again, but Nello still alive and looking to hold it down. Static finds his man onto Neo. 4 versus 4. The challenge continues. Tyrant somehow finding that kill, just dipping and diving behind that table, but pops up with a surprise. And there come the last 2. Solotov finishing the man. Envy was down. Envy. Whew, it was a hard fought fight from him, but not quite enough for Sandbox as MNM, they take Oregon 7-5.
It is their map choice. It came close, but they still walk away with the win set. If anything else comes of this, they get at least 1 point.